What is your stance on the importance of sexual education for students in high school? I don't really have a particular stance on that issue. Why? What's your stance on the issue?
Well, I believe that with teen pregnancy on the rise, it is vital that teenagers receive sexual education in high school, and they are taught the importance of safe sex and contraceptives.
I guess that sounds important. Can you tell me more about the issue?
Well, as Joan Marsman and Edward Herold explain in their article, Attitudes Towards Sex Education and Values in Sex Education. Until the 1960s, there were virtually no organized sex education programs. Also, those organizations and schools that did have sexual education programs did not give much information to the students, instead merely urged them to fight the temptation. Although sexual education programs are becoming more prevalent, there is still the issue of schools that do not offer such programs. This is an important issue because without sexual education classes, many teenagers will not know how to have safe sex, prevent pregnancy and STDs, or obtain contraceptives.
So pretty much you think that teenagers should be able to have sexual education classes in school, right?
Exactly. As explained in the same article, some public schools believe that sexual education promotes promiscuity. But let's face it, with or without sexual education, teenagers will still engage in sex, therefore we might as well teach them how to do so safely. As stated in the article, contraceptive use patterns across teen sexual relationships, the role of relationships, partners, and sexual histories, by Jennifer Manlove, Susanna Ryan, and Kerry Franzetta. The majority of high school teens have had a romantic relationship, and almost half of high school-age teens have had at least one sexual experience.
But how do we know that teaching kids about sexual education won't make them engage in sex?
Good question. With sexual education available in schools, it does not increase premarital sex, but may increase the more responsible use of contraceptives among young people who are sexually active. Therefore, young teenagers can learn about the use of birth control, which can help to prevent unwanted pregnancy, especially in teenage years, and the spread of STDs and STIs.
So I understand that sexual education for teenagers is important, but are public schools really not offering sexual education?
As stated in the article, The New Sex Education and the Sexual Revolution, a critical view by Lawrence Shawnack and Ellen Roberts Shawnack, 55 of relatively large school districts have sex education programs. So, about half of public schools offer sexual education programs. In my opinion, there should be more to ensure that all teenagers receive adequate sexual education.
So, schools have to start offering sexual education to high schoolers.
Exactly. Through sexual education, adolescent pregnancy can be reduced through the use of contraceptives, and teenagers can be better educated on this important issue.